Good morning, everyone. Let me check. First of all, the delay there is in between what I say and when you see it. It's okay. Perfect. So, first simple thing that I need to tell you is this. Starting from today, live videos that you see in all of your classes, they will remain online for 24 hours. So if you miss your class or if you just want to keep viewing each lesson more and more, you can you have the chance, and all videos will stay online for 24 hours if you are in another part of the country and so on and so on. But something that you should also use for you is that I do, especially for my lessons, is I do 3ds Max classes on Monday 9 to 11, Monday 11 to 1, Wednesday 9 to 11, Wednesday 11 to 1, and I think that's it. So why this? Simply because if you want, you can follow all of these classes technically, and you have more chances to see me live, to see also different examples for similar tools. So you have just more chances to catch informations by using these live videos. So if you want to know my schedule, as I said, I repeat, Monday, let's say from 9 to 1, Wednesday from 9 to 1, I will deliver always 3ds Max classes. So starting from Monday, I start a new topic and I repeat it in these 4 lessons. And let's say, because yes, on Thursday I don't do, Thursday, Friday, no, I don't do 3ds Max. On Thursday, Friday I do I make like Revit classes, Inventor and AutoCAD. So it's not pretty interesting if you're not following those classes. Anyway, another interesting thing is that I will try now to send you the link of a folder where you can upload your homeworks, and we will try this. So if it works correctly, you will try to give me a real-time feedback. So if it works, I will activate these for all other classes. So if you give me 3 seconds. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay, so I just need to make folder now. And give me 3 seconds. And I will give you a link 3ds homeworks Wednesday 9 to 11. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's try this. I will give you in a comment. Okay. I will check it first. So let's try this thing in real time. If you see, I have added a comment in just below the video, and you need to check what happens if you click on that link. You should open an empty folder that is called 3ds Homeworks Wednesday 9 to 11, and you should check if you can simply drag and drop your homework inside this folder, because I've made a specific folder where technically everyone can access right now. So if you have the chance during this live, be so nice simply to open that link. It will open of course a web page. There is my Google Drive folder, and try to drag and drop your homeworks inside there, and we will see in real time if it works. Okay? Can you see the link? It is a comment in just below the video. A feedback will be also highly appreciated. Don't see it. How this is possible? I mean, I see it. Let me check. Wait. Okay, let's try to do this. If you wait a second. This is my video, okay? And I think this is, I don't know if you are watching the same thing, but if you scroll down the page here, if you scroll down the page, there are comments, YouTube comments, these, and at the end, there is one comment, there is the link that I have written right now, just at the end of the page where my video is. Okay? It's not into the description, it is a comment, and then you can go up. Check it now. Just live chat. I don't trust you. Wait a second. I will do another thing. Let's see. Give me 3 seconds. So we'll try if I can click it here. Okay. Now there is into the chat. Let me check. Can you right click and open this link from the chat? Oh my gosh, yes! Fantastic! That's too cool. It's easier. Okay. Let me check also in real time if you can upload things. Okay, I'm keeping it open. Okay. Woohoo! First homework is there. Maria was able to upload the homework. Good job. I'm the best, I know. Okay, so from this week it will also work like this. There is, and each time that we have a live, I will send this link, and you will be able to upload your homeworks during the live. The thing that I don't know is if, because we will leave the video for 24 hours, I don't know if you can also have the chance to see chat messages also when you re-stream the video. I mean, this is something new, but if this is not happening, I will find another way to keep also the link available for 24 hours. But I mean, this is a real-time experiment, and we have never tried this, so we are still in the process of improving things that we can do to make your life easier. Put a line in the description. In the description, it is a little bit more complex, because then same room is used by other teachers. So the problem is that if I put the link into the description, I have to do it before starting my live streaming. I mean, I will try. It's not that easy, especially because if I, by mistake, if I forget to remove the link from the description before starting the live, and then another teacher starts its live, then my Google Drive folder will be below his video. So I mean, let's see. For now, it is good enough that I was able to open a Google Drive folder for the public. I mean, that for me is a great goal, and so we will see how to improve this method of delivering homeworks. So let me check. One homework only. Okay, so be so nice to put all of your stuff in there, and then let's see what we can learn today, because today I want to show you one very interesting, slightly complex tool only, and Marco, I just have one question about the homework. Ask me. Ask me the question while we haven't started yet. I mean, now or never. How you did the worm? I don't know if I can answer, but it's okay. I mean, the worm is just like that. Basically, worm is a loft. So you need a circular closed shape that would be first. Then let's say we need a line that will be our path. And we have to do this. We select our line. We select vertices of this line because now this is sharp and we want to make it smooth. So I simply select all my vertices, I right click on them and I change them to smooth. And this will be first part. I mean, this is in order to prepare and then move. I mean, just to make it better. And this is to prepare elements that we are going to use into the worm. Then what we have here, we have our path and our shape. So I select the path only and I have just round ends. Okay, I mean, let's wait. So what I have to do is simply just this. I go to create geometries, then I open compound objects, I do loft, I get the shape and get this. And till here, nothing complex. I mean, this is fine. But we can see that in this way our loft has a continuous profile all along its path. What we have to do now? We select the loft, we go into the Modify tab, and by scrolling a little bit the menu of our loft, we open the formations. And in here, we click Scale. Boom! So here is where basically the magic happens. That is this. In this beautiful red line, you can see that the scale is continuous from the beginning till the end of the path. It is 100%, so the circle remains with its sides from the beginning till the end of this kind of S-shaped path. But what I have to do now is I have to click Insert Corner Points, and I will insert a lot of them just to make the body of the worm going like a little bit wavy, to make it wobbling. And I will start by moving these points down, then these, then that. More or less something that will look like this. Where's the trick? Where is the thing that makes the head and the tail of the worm becoming round? We can see now that our scaling function is a line. It is sharp, and each time that we have these additional points, they are corners. So what we have to do here is this. You have to select your vertices, and also you are even free not to select them all, but you can select just a few of them. And into the specific case, you will technically need just to select first two and last two vertices. But what you have to do is you select them, and instead of keeping these vertex as corners, you select them, you right click on them, and you change that instead of being corners, your vertices must become Bezier corners. In this way, I mean, it's a little bit hard to see, but I will zoom in here, exactly. But in this way, you will notice that now you can move vertices, but in your vertices you also have these tiny black handles, and instead of moving the vertex, if I move the handle, I change that my scaling function, instead of having a linear segment, it has a round shape in this way. Then I can leave everything else as it is. I can scroll my function till the end, just to repeat the process, and to repeat, because now we have fixed this side of the worm, I want to fix also this side of the worm, that is the end, so I will just repeat the process. That is, I select last two vertices only, I right click on them, and instead of leaving them as corners, I make them as Bezier corners. So now I will have the chance to manipulate handles in order to make the shape of my scaling function a curve instead of linear, and boom! And in this way, the head and the tail of the worm becomes beautifully round. Okay? Yes? See? No? Maybe? Then tell me something about it. You're welcome. Okay, let's see what to do today. That would be, today we have to study something that is called Pro Boolean. That is a compound object that works between solid objects only. So the place where it is in here. It is in Create, Geometries, Compound Object. Pro Boolean, as you may see, because I have, and it is this button here, and because it is a compound object, you can just create it. But in order to use it, you must create certain elements before. These elements can't be whatever you want, but these elements must be proper solid objects. So they can be boxes, they can be spheres, they can be cones, whatever is a solid object. You can use extruded shapes, but they must be properly drawn so that when you extrude them, they are capped, so they are solid forms. You can use lathe, you can use loft. The only limit is that you can't use inside Pro Boolean objects that are hollow inside, but hollow, I mean objects that have like no thickness. Like, you know, when you have a line that is not correctly drawn, like you extrude it like an AutoCAD drawing that is wrong. You extrude it, you see it from top and you see that it is hollow, perfect. Those objects can be used. Everything else, yes. And what Pro Boolean does is very simple. That is, Pro Boolean makes operations between solid objects. We will study three operations that are called subtraction, intersection, and union between solid. And I would like to make a quick sketch first, just to let you understand which is the concept between shapes and operation between shapes. What are these? So imagine you have a shape, let's say something like that, and you have another shape so that you can combine them. Let's say I draw this. Perfect. What it means making operations between these two shapes. If I make subtraction, for example, so that subtraction means like minus. What it means is this. If I call these 1 and I call these 2, the operation that is 1 minus 2, so the shape called 1 minus shape called 2, will be simply that I will remove this part from shape number 1. So a subtraction between shapes will give me as result a shape that at the end will look like this. What is instead intersection? So intersection means I combine 1 and 2. Intersection is this. Intersection is I just keep in my as final result only that small part that my shapes have in common. So intersection will give me this result. Last but not least, we have union. Union instead means that I can combine shapes together into one single object. So if I make union, technically I basically say that this part that is in common will disappear and all these shapes will be joined together. So if I make instead the shape number 1 plus shape number 2, believe it or not, the result will be something like this. Fantastic. So these are three main operations that we can do with Pro Boolean. So what happens in 3ds Max is simply that in order to make this possible, we need to create shapes, but they must be technically solid objects, not just drawings. And then we can do same exact operations. So look, instead of just making a weird circle, I will make a box. And to make something that was pretty similar to drawings that I've made, but in 3 dimensions, I will make a box and I will make a sphere. And this, for me, is what was before that weird rectangle, and this is what was the circle. So how Pro Boolean works is this. Look, the object that you select, and you must select one starting object only, the object that you select is what for you is solid 1, is the one that remains. Then I go to the Pro Boolean menu by going to Create, Geometries, Compound Objects, and I find Pro Boolean, and you will discover that if I have only one selected object, Pro Boolean is also a button that becomes available. And I click it, and this is how Pro Boolean works. That is, once that you have one object selected, you click Pro Boolean. If you scroll down a little bit your menu, you can find these main three options down here, and you can read, let me highlight them, you can read subtraction, intersection, union. You may notice that there is a check sign just next to one of them. So what you have to do is, once that you have selected your object, click Pro Boolean, you need to specify by clicking here which operation you want to do in between your solid objects. I will start by using subtraction, mostly because it is one of the most useful operations. So I will need simply to check that subtraction has been selected. Then, with subtraction clicked, I will click Start Picking, and I will pick my second solid inside this Pro Boolean operation. So once that I'm not clicking yet, but once that I will click on the sphere, the result will be that I have started by selecting the box. Then I click subtraction. Then I click the sphere. So the sphere will be removed from my box. Let's see if this is true. So I click start picking, and then I click the sphere. Boom! And this is what happens to my object. If I change the point of view, I will see the result, that is, object number 1 was the box minus object number 2, that was the sphere, and this is the result. Okay? Perfect. So, let's make more examples to start showing how many unbelievable things you can do with Pro Boolean. So, I will close now start picking, and I will simply delete this object to make new elements. So look, let's start by making another very easy example, just something that makes more sense, not just a random box minus a random sphere. So look here, I make one box, I mean, it's fantastic, and I make another box like this. Till here, nothing spectacular, but what I want to do is I want these two boxes to have same exact height. So what I have to do is I select one of them, and let's say I make it 70 centimeters tall. Then I select second box, and I make it 70 centimeters tall. I can also change length, width. I mean, that this is not really important, but at least they must have same height. What I will do next is I simply create a third box. This box will be just taller than my previous boxes, but it will be larger than these and larger than that. So I will move these in the center of this kind of cross that I have created before. Okay? And if I want, I can make one box maybe a little bit larger. Perfect. I will make center box a little bit shorter. More or less like this. So what I have is that I have one box in the center and I have two boxes that are crossing my centerpiece. So let's see. I select only my center box, because when I use Pro Boolean I need always to start by having one selected box. Then I go to Create, Compound, Pro Boolean, and as I said, I must check that subtraction is the operation that is selected. And now I can click Start Picking. I will discover that in this way I'm not limited into selecting one object to be removed from my starting one. But when I click Start Picking, I can also, one by one, I can pick one of these boxes. I can also pick second box, so that both will be subtracted from my center box. And when I subtract also my second box, this is what happens. Poof! This is my center box that has been cut from one box along the X and one box along the Y. And the result is just a phenomenal, beautiful table. And when I'm done, I will just close, Start Picking, and I've made one solid object that is also a realistic furniture piece. But believe me, I will make just a lot more examples, at least a lot more, at least other 2 examples in showing you other things that you can do with subtraction. For example, you can do this. You can make, if you click, you can make another box. And what I will do now is I will make a few duplicates of this box. So I click Shift, I move this box up, and I make a few copies, not instances, because they must be seen from 3ds Max as independent objects. So I just make these beautiful boxes. What I do next, simple, very simple operation. That is, I make another box. And the only thing that I have to do is my last box must be a little bit larger than these boxes that I've created before. A little bit, and you can see that now this is extremely large, so I just decrease one of these, its dimension. It has to be a little bit taller, so I increase its height. And I simply move a little bit my 4 boxes from the ground, just like this. So what you see is that I have this box that is intersected, let me make it like this, I have my bigger box, and inside it has these 4 boxes that are not going this time all the way through it. So see this, I can select my big box only. I click on create, compound, Pro Boolean. Subtraction is already there because I've used it before. Then I can click start picking, and I will start by picking those 4 boxes so that their volume will be removed from my bigger box, and what remains will be this awesome masterpiece of a bookshelf. Okay? Let me show you one last example that is using only subtraction, and then I will show you other operations that are intersections and union, but at the end I will show you all the 3 operations used together. So let's see this last example, just to show you that you are not limited in using only boxes or spheres, but just to show you that you can use whatever is a closed solid object. So look, if I use line, I know that I can draw closed shapes, okay? And I also know that if I draw closed shapes and I use extrude, extruding a closed shape, so extrude is here, then no one's going upside while instead of going down, but it's okay. I click extrude and I increase the extrusion height. Boom! This is fantastic, but this is a solid. So this object can be used with no issues into my Pro Boolean compound object. And what I will do is I will draw another very specific shape that I'm going to use as object that I want to subtract. That will be this. Look. I draw another line, but see which kind of shape I create. That is this. I make one small segment, then I keep shift pressed so that my lines will be perpendicular. Then I remove the finger from shift so that I can make angled shapes. And I will make this, honestly, at the beginning, weird looking shape. Could be more precise. Exactly. So what I'm going to do with this shape. To turn these into a solid, I will simply extrude this one as well. So I look for extrude, but not as tall as my wall. I will make it like 130, 150, more or less. Okay? Ready for this? Look at that. I simply move this shape so that the center of this shape is inside my wall, and I also move it up. Okay? Ready for this? Because this would be, let me tell you, it's been unbelievable. But now, if I select my wall, there is the object that I want to keep. I go to Create, Geometry, Compound, Pro Boolean, Subtraction is selected, and then I click Start Picking. By picking this object that has that weird shape and it is passing through the wall, when I pick it, what will remain in my wall will be this. From here, I just see a rectangular hole. But due to the fact that I have drawn this shape by having also those angled sides, if you notice, from the inside, the trace left from my shape is that I have a more realistic shape of the hole created for a window, where I also have these little angled faces that are helping me opening the window, it will enter more light, and so on and so on. Okay? Perfect. Let's pretend that the answer is yes. Perfect. So, let's see now another operation. An operation that is called intersection. This is not used very often. This is a little bit more complex as operation, but sometimes it will give you extremely unique results. And I mean, I don't want to delete this beautiful masterpiece of interior, so let's see what intersection does. That is this. Let's say you have this box and what else? Let's make a cone. I mean, just to make something that is slightly different. Okay. So look what we have here. We have the cone and the box, and they have something in common. And if you notice, a small part of the cone is inside the box. So what intersection leaves is, it leaves only that part of these two objects that they have in common. So it will leave the part of the cylinder that is inside the box, and it will delete all exterior parts. So let me show you first what it does. Then we will make a very complex example. No, first an easy one, then one that is complex. So if I select again one object, go to compound, go to Pro Boolean, now I have to change the operation. I have to make intersection, and only after changing the operation I can click start picking. So I start picking and I pick the cylinder. See what remains from these two solids. Poof! This is what remains. This is that part of the cylinder that was also inside the box. Everything else, so the box here and the cylinder there, instead are deleted. So let me show you one simple thing that you can do with intersection. That is this. Look, and if it works at first time, I mean, I will be happier that you can imagine. But I will make two objects. I will make a cube. So take care, a cube, not just a box. So a cube means that I will make a box, and then I will give my box same exact dimensions for length, width, and height. Doesn't matter which dimensions you use, but the only important thing is that they must be the same. Okay? Then, check this. I make a sphere. And what I need to do is, I need to place the sphere in order to be perfectly into the center of my box. So I need to use snap. I left click to the snap button, and I use only snap to the pivot. In this way, I can move the sphere down here. Okay? I'm not that happy yet, because right now, if I see these two objects from the top, they are perfectly aligned. But I just want to move the sphere up so that its pivot won't be just into the pivot of the box, but it will be also into the geometric center of the box. I will turn off the snap because I don't need it, and now I will simply move the sphere up like that. Okay? And I can see that, why not? It looks fantastic. So check this, because what I will do now is simply, I will increase a little bit the size of my sphere here. Fantastic. Maybe more? No. No, yes, why not? Like this. So that I have these corners remaining out of the Pro Boolean. So now check this. I select the box. I go to compound, Pro Boolean, intersection, that was my previously used operation, so it's there. I click start picking, and I hope it works. So then I click the sphere, and what remains should be a dice. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is perfect. This is exactly like how a rolling dice is made. We could adjust something, but not today for sure. That maybe we, in order to make it more realistic, we can slightly fillet these edges, but for sure not today. But this is how a rolling dice is made. And believe it or not, with Pro Boolean, we can make these rolling dice becoming a masterpiece, because if I make more spheres, look, I make this sphere, and I also do a copy. But why one? I make 1, 2, and 3, and then I make 6. So, just to show you, what we could potentially do is we can also place this sphere in the center of this box, and we can place the sphere so that it is slightly going through the top face. Then we can do same thing with these other spheres, just into the opposite face. Let's say here. So now our object, that is a Pro Boolean, can be used in this way. That is, we want to add elements inside our Pro Boolean, so we select our rolling dice, that, if you remember, has been made by using intersection, so it is already a Pro Boolean. Then we go to the Modify tab. We can see that this is a Pro Boolean, so when we go into the Modify tab, we can simply keep using operations, but take care. I want to make a subtraction now, so before clicking start picking, I need to change the operation to subtraction, and then clicking start picking. And I will pick these spheres. So by removing them, what will remain in, and then I close, but what will remain in my rolling dice will be, they remain these small holes that are also giving me the number of each face. Okay? Just to make something that becomes a little bit more complex than just subtracting two different solid shapes. Let me show you now last operation that is technically easier one, that is union. And what union does is simply union combines shapes together, and shapes will act, solid objects will act like one unique solid form. So this is important, not just to keep things sticky together, But this is something that is pretty important when you use multiple pro Boolean operations. What it means? It means this. Look. Okay, for 1 second we went offline, but we should be good now. Yes. I don't know what happened. Oops, oops, oops. No. Okay, we're still there? Yes. Sorry, there has been just a small delay into the live stream, but I can see myself on YouTube, but just prove me that you are there. Just write me something into the chat. Be so nice. Lovely. Okay, so so I was explaining union. What is union? It is this. What I want to do here is I want to combine these objects, plus I want to make something very complex. There is this. I want to make a hole through both of these boxes. So basically I want to remove the volume of this cone from the volume of these two boxes. So what I have to do is basically this. I can do this with Pro Boolean, but if I want to make an operation that involves more than one solid, I need to follow a slightly more logic path. That means this. I can select one of my boxes. I will go to Compound, Pro Boolean. What I have to think in my mind is this. I want to remove the cone from both of my angled boxes. But if I click now Subtraction and I then click the cone will be removed only from my horizontal box. And if I make union afterward with my vertical one, this second box will remain exactly as it is without any interaction with the cone. So in this case, what I have to do is I have to make union first between my two boxes. So I click union, then I click start picking, and I click my second box. In this way, you also notice that boundary goes, this bright blue boundary goes all around the two selected boxes. Now these two boxes are considered like one unique solid. So what I can do next is look and take care here, because if not, it won't work properly. What you do is you close start picking now. You change the operation to subtraction, and now you can click start picking again. But if you subtract now the cone will be subtracted by both of your boxes that have been joined before. Okay? And again, this is something that the more complex project you are doing, the more important will be. For example, let me show you this because it would be fantastic. Let's say in here I want to add another wall. So, only because I want to show you that you're not limited in using boxes, what I will do is I just add a new line, and then I go to the Modify tab, and then I extrude this shape. Okay? And why I'm doing this? Simply because now I want to add two more windows, but two windows that are symmetrically placed in both walls. So I want to do this. I just want to make a box. And as you can see, this very long box is passing through both of my walls. But my walls are still independent because this C-shaped wall is one solid and this other angled wall is another solid. So, if I really need to open these windows and I want to keep these as one architectural piece only, what I will do is I select one of my walls. I go to Compound, I go to Pro Boolean, I make Union first, so I select the operation that is Union, then I click Start Picking and I join both walls together. Okay? But then, because I want to make a subtraction also inside the same Pro Boolean, I close Start Picking, I change the operation to Subtraction, and then I click Start Picking again, and then I click this box. Because these two walls have been joined together with union, this single box that is passing through this entire object will make a hole in both walls. Poof! Fantastic, isn't it? I know. Okay? If you do this in a very complex example, you will discover that you can make in 3ds Max. You can even understand how sections or floor plans should be made in reality. But give me a second before showing this very last complex example, because I want to show you one more thing inside the Pro Boolean, that is this. Look. When two or more than two objects are combined together in a Pro Boolean operation, they are not gone forever. You can still select them in a certain way, and you can still edit them. And here an example. Look. If I make a box and I make a sphere, what I can do is very simple. Look, I select the sphere. I can go to compound objects. I can click Pro Boolean. I can, let's say, I make subtraction, but this is true for all operations. But I click Start Picking and I pick the sphere. Till here, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. But the problem is, what if I have made a mistake and the sphere, instead of being down here, what if the sphere should be above? What if I want to make this, place the sphere into the center, on the top, on this corner, and so on and so on? Check this, because this would be fantastic. What you can do is, if you have a Pro Boolean and you go to the Modify tab, what you need to check first is this. Into the Modify tab, you can see here Pro Boolean, and you can also see that next to Pro Boolean there is this small triangular yellow button. Okay? Ready for this? Look. If you click this button, you will see that you open a section of Pro Boolean and you see the word that is called Operands. So what are operands? Operands are basically my two solids. And if I click operands, ready for this? Check. I click operands. Then I go down till the end of my Pro Boolean menu, and I can read that this Pro Boolean is in reality the result of having a box, and there is a sphere that is subtracted, and you can also read the subtr word here that means subtraction. But you can also see that by clicking operands, when I click in one of my operands, can you see that the pivot point changes its position? Because in reality, I don't only just click here, but in reality, I can select my operands. And why this is important? Simply because if I select the sphere, for example, now that I'm selecting the operand that is the sphere, I can move it, but because it is a subtraction, no matter where the sphere is, the sphere will always remain subtracted from the box, and I can just move it and refine its position. I mean, I won't rotate the sphere because it makes no sense, but I can scale the sphere as well. Okay? And what is unbelievably cool is also that if you realize that you want to make a clone of this sphere, by selecting operands and by clicking the operand that you want, you can also, just one at a time, you can also shift and move, and you will make a second object that is subtracted. So you can select shift and move, and you make a third one. Fantastic, look at that. Okay? This is because we can't be sure that the position, the scaling of all our objects will be correct from the beginning when we make them inside our Pro Boolean final result. And because this is highly possible, we are discovering that we can edit position, the scaling, and whatever else of objects, even if they have been already placed inside a Pro Boolean compound object. So, why this is important? Simply because, look here. Let me make last complex object, then I would like not to explain anything else like new tools, but I would like you to make me questions, and I will spend more than usual 5 minutes for questions, because writing them maybe is more complex, and then there is the YouTube delay and so on and so on. So let me show you this last example with Pro Boolean that will combine sorry, operations together, but also moving things. So check this. I start by making one simple box, then I will shift and move this box up. But then I make one box here, and then I make another shift and move, and I make a box there. I mean, till here, nothing complex. But what I will do next is this. Look. I will draw with shapes two very particular shapes. I could do these in perspective, but to be a little bit more precise, I simply press Alt W in order to open my 4 viewports. And in this viewport here, I will draw 2 shapes. Look, one will be like this. You can be more precise if you want with snap, but it's not really important. But this will be one closed shape, and I will also draw another closed shape that will be like this. Fantastic. Look, and I want simply to make this vertex a little bit better. Perfect. So check this. Maybe I have to make the height of this box till there. Lovely. The height of this box till there. Fantastic. Now I can select my perspective, and I can press again Alt W to open my perspective window. So look, I will extrude this shape, extrude, but not as much, just like that, and I will move it here. I will also shift and move these. Last but not least, I will extrude this shape as well. And if you notice, by making these few elements, what I have done in reality is I have made something that looks like a very, very super basic house. Okay? I mean, it's not a masterpiece of architecture, I know, but at least it looks like a house. So, where is first problem that I'm facing here? As you may notice, in this house there are no windows. There is no door in here, and what I want to do is, first of all these are completely independent solid objects. So first thing that I will do will be I will select one, I will click Pro Boolean, and I will use union to join all these objects together so that they act like a real unique architectural block. So no matter from where you start, in general, just to remember, I start from the ground, but this is not something that will change the result, but you select one object only, you click create, geometries, compound objects, Pro Boolean, and then be precise. Before clicking start picking, you must click union. Then you click start picking, and now you can pick all of your other objects. So I'm just picking all other solids. This wall, there is also, even if I can see it, but I can just move my mouse on the top of my middle floor, poof, and now if I move my mouse, I can notice that the mouse won't find anything else. So now I've joined all those solids together. So what I do next? Now I close start picking, and I start by creating elements that I will remove from my object so that they will be windows and doors. And I will start by making a box. For example, I will make a box in here. I will slide this box through the wall because here is where I want to make my window. Then I make another box. And this will start by being this will be the door, this will be the window. Okay? So, check this. I select this big house. I go to the Modify tab. And what I will do is I will click Subtraction. Then I can click Start Picking, and I can pick this, that will be my door, and this, that will be my window. And you may notice two main problems. Problem number one is, if I close Start Picking, problem number one is this. You can notice that my box is not correctly placed in order to be the door, because I knew that, I did it on purpose, but I can see that there is thickness of the floor showing here. So basically my door should be just lifted up a little bit so that it goes above the floor. And another problem that I can see is that I have made just one box that I'm using as window, and in this room I may need more windows. I need another window on the other side. I need two at least windows on my top floor, and so on and so on. So let's see how to do this with Pro Boolean. Step 1, let's fix the door. That is, I will select the house, I go to the Modify tab. Next to Pro Boolean, I open this triangular button and I click Operands. And into the list of my Pro Boolean, I need to know that now that I have more objects, how can I realize which one is the door? Basically, you can see that all of my operands have a number next to them. Number 0 means this is my starting object. And then number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this means that this is first object that I clicked with star picking. This is second, this is third. So Pro Boolean keeps track of the order that I have used to select all my objects. And what I need to know is last boxes that I've picked was the window. And I can also see that the pivot point goes here. The box that I have selected just a second before the window was the door. So if I select this one, this is the one that manages the door. And I can check that if I move it, look, I can change how this box interacts with the house. So the only thing that I have to do is I have to move this box up. Poof. So that now I have lifted this box up in a way that it won't cut in that ugly way the floor of my house, but instead it is on the same level. And by moving an object inside the Pro Boolean, I was able to fix my door. Problem 1 fixed. Problem 2, add more windows. So I select from my operands my box 3. And just to try, I can see that by moving my box 3 that has been subtracted, you can see that you can change its position. What I want to do is, I don't want just to move it, while I want to shift and move it, so that I can create a duplicate of my box that will cut the window on the upper floor. And also I can repeat this process by using shift and move, but this time instead of up down I will make left and right. So I make another duplicate, but this time on the opposite wall, and I will do the same with my lower. So I shift and move, I make a duplicate, and I just take care that position is cutting the whole wall, the entire wall. Okay? So I can also, if I use shift, I can select more operands at the same time, and for example I can move them all, or I can shift and move them all if I need to make more duplicates of same objects. Last but not least, and this is what I mean will change your life forever, will be this. Look. In my house, I will do something that at the beginning will look like the end of the world. Look. So, I make these gigantic box and believe it or not, the only attention that I'm doing when I make this big box is that this last big gigantic box must be larger, longer and taller than the entire house. Okay? And look where I will, look where I will place this box. I will place this box that is super tall. I will place this box in this position. So, more or less, it is cutting the house at half of the height of my windows. Okay? Ready for this? Look, I select the house. I go to the Modify tab. I click Subtraction and then start picking, and I pick this big gigantic box. What remains will be this. So, believe it or not, this, if you see from the top, this is basically a floor plan, but also more interesting because it's technically a bird view of your house from the top. But you may notice that these walls are those walls that are cut. These are not. This is the door. So this is how technically a floor plan should be made. So where is the big deal in making that last big gigantic box? A very big deal is that because we have seen that we can move objects while they are inside a Pro Boolean. So what happens if I have made that gigantic box, I have subtracted it from the entire house, and I move it now? See this. If I select Operands, and remember that last box was also last element that I've clicked inside my Pro Boolean. So when I click Operands into the list of my objects, that one is last one for sure. This one, exactly. This, in my case, is box number 16, but it is last one. So check this. If I move it left and right, you don't see anything special. But if I move it up or down, you will see this happening. And you are creating now the floor plan of your upper floor. And you can keep moving it up, 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 and you will see your house growing. If I move my gigantic box so far that it doesn't even cut the house, the entire 3D model of the house looks like I'm not cutting anything. But if I move it so that my big box intersects the house, you will see this happening. But also, remember, we have made it not only taller than the entire house. We have also made it larger and longer because instead of just moving it up and down, we can also move this box back and forth. So I can move it on one side and then I will move it up and down, so that instead of cutting the entire house, it will cut half house. Boom! And this is how a section should look like. And I can move the box more or less to the left according to which side of the house I want to see and which side I want to cut. I can also move it not only left and right, I can move it back and forth. So I can now make this section here. And why not? I can also make new. I can make other possibilities, like I can move this thing up and then a little bit down, back, so that I can show my client a combination in same 3D model, a combination of a vertical section and a floor plan, just to give like an exploded view of my model. Okay? And this, believe it or not, is something that is possible just because we are using Pro Boolean compound object. Okay? Yes? See? No? Maybe? So, use these additional minutes to make me questions. And remember also, by scrolling here into the chat, you can also find the link where you have to upload homeworks that were meant to be for this week, that is the octopus. Today, I don't want to give you a homework because I want to explain another tool next week, and after the tool that I will explain next week, there is a modifier that is called Edit Poly. I will be able to give you extremely complex but at the same time interesting homeworks that you can develop by yourself, but they will be a little bit more interesting. So I will give you realistic furniture elements and so on and so on. So for this week you have no homework, but be so nice to upload the octopus into the folder that I have created today, because right now I can see one uploaded homework only. So if you have questions, type them. We can try also an interesting social experiment that is sometimes just writing a question is not that simple, because maybe you just have one weird thing in your screen and you want to share the screen with me. So another thing that we can do is, and now that I have created this folder for you, what you can do with this folder is also, imagine you want to show me something in your screen. What you can do is, you use your phone and you can just make a very short, don't make an Hollywood movie, but you can make a short movie by pointing your phone to the screen And while you are filming the issue, you can also say, Marco, look, my house is doing this, this and that. Why this is not working? Then you save this video and you may upload, and you may, let me check, and you can upload the video on that same folder. So yes, why you have, Shaima, why you have deleted your message? Cause yes, the homework is there. Homework is there, I've seen it. Okay, other questions? Other questions? Yes? No? See? Ooh, that's perfect. So what I will do now will be this. I will, in a few seconds, I will stop live stream. Live stream, I will save the live stream into the channel as a video that you can watch, and you will be able to watch it for 24 hours. I will just rename the title of this live stream, so I will call it 3ds Max class Wednesday 9 to 11. I will also write Pro Boolean compound objects so that you can remember what was main topic of this class. And if I can, I will add into the video description, because probably you can't comment on the video, and so that you can watch this video. Leo, when I go into student files to upload, no, you must use this link to upload. So click this link and then use this folder to drag and drop your octopus operation, homework, sorry. Do this operation now and let me know if it works. Now. I'm waiting. Great. Okay, so I will stop this live stream right now. So I'll fix a couple of things, but believe it or not, in 5 minutes I'll be back because I will make my next class. But for now, ciao.